Just as sin came into the world through one man, and death came through sin, so death spread to all people because all have sinned. This is an essential truth in our faith, that through Adam and Eve's disobedience, sin, suffering, and death come into the world. St. Paul, in his letter to the Romans, wants to highlight both the consequences of sin and that original sin is inherited. This second idea, to our modern minds, might seem odd. We live in an individualistic culture, so the idea that I would have to pay for the consequences of someone else's sins is deeply uncomfortable. Good idea is that this is a misconception. Original sin is inherited, but not in the way we think. So let's talk about that. In the beginning, Adam and Eve are created by God and live in original harmony with Him. What that means is that Adam and Eve are in relationship with God. The Catechism calls this relationship a friendship. They lived together in the garden, and it was from that friendship that their happiness flowed. Not only that, they were in harmony with themselves, each other, and with God. So humans had a mastery of themselves, and as a result, could live in harmony with each other and with God. But, unable to resist the devil's temptations, Adam and Eve both choose to disobey God's commands not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and so thereby sinned for the first time. The consequences of that action affected both Adam and Eve and all humanity. They begin the march towards death. Work becomes a burden. They view God with suspicion. They are separated from God. And finally, all three levels of harmony are broken. Humans are not in control of themselves, nor are they in harmony with others or with God. St. Paul makes this point by saying that sin came into the world through one man, and death came through sin, so death spread to all people. Now, here's the misconception. We often talk about original sin as a stain on the soul that is washed away at baptism. And while there is nothing wrong with that image, the church has used it for many centuries even. Original sin is not so much the presence of a stain, but rather the absence of something that God has willed for us. You could think of original sin then as a gaping hole in the fabric of our nature that we received from Adam and Eve by virtue of being their descendants. This gaping hole that can only be filled by God. The Catechism says that original sin is called sin only in a sort of analogical sense. It's sin that is contracted but not committed. It's a state, not an act. We are not inheriting Adam and Eve's personal fault, but rather the fallen state that they entered as a result. Now, as you know, the story does not end there. The free gift is not like the trespass. What Adam lost for humanity, Christ gives back with staggering abundance. The free gift is not like the trespass. Through baptism, we are freed from original sin, filled with sanctifying grace, and restored to the friendship with God that humanity lost. Though we still struggle with temptations and the effects of our fallen nature, and we see its effects in our world, sin and death no longer reign over us. Original sin is not the final word about humanity. The free gift is not like the trespass.